As many of you know, I'm Erin. I'm an account executive at Orion. I've been in the industry about 20 years, and I also have Michelle Wild. She's one of our DVPs that's going to be in the chat today, answering some of your questions and then chiming in periodically. But we just want to get you guys some more information on DSCR loans. It's definitely a growing loan program and a huge opportunity for you guys as LOs. So what we're going to cover today is some market insights for you, the basics of DSCR, how to calculate the DSCR ratio, who's a good fit, what to watch out for, and some fun facts and did you knows, as well as something you guys will all be interested in, how to find more of these deals and market these more. So we are going to go ahead and get started. And as we go through this, feel free to type your questions in the chat. As I mentioned, Michelle is a huge resource, an expert on these, and can answer any of your questions in the chat as we go through. So a couple of market insights on these. You may not have known about 15% of home purchases right now are investor aux. So if you guys are not focusing in on programs and opportunities for investors, you're definitely missing out. It's a huge market niche. And most investors are individuals, not huge corporations, as some people think. So this is a big opportunity for you guys to target those investors. And just last year, there was a 34% increase in DSCR mortgages that were originated from beginning to end of 2024. So that's a pretty steep increase. Also, not just purchases, but DSCR refis are trending up. We at Orion are seeing a lot of refis for investors to pay off their hard money loans or high interest rate loans. Not just that, but also for cash out to get some of their equity out of their investment properties. And a lot of them are using that money to scoop up some more investor occupancy loans. And just another fun fact, the average DSCR rate, not at Orion, but just nationwide, at the fourth quarter of 2024 was about 7.12. You're going to see some rates lower than that. You're going to see some rates higher than that, but that just gives you a little idea of where these rates are. So just some quick basics, and then we're going to get into the fun stuff. DSCR, if you didn't know, stands for Debt Service Coverage Ratio, and we will talk more about that. These are investor occupancies only, so you cannot use these for primary residence or second homes. They do need to be an investment property. The good thing about DSCR loans, something that makes them very appealing, is that there's no employment on these, no income docs, no DTI to calculate, there's no DU. So that makes them a lot more streamlined as far as documentation. And these are non-TRID, so there's no disclosures. There's no LEs, there's no CDs. They don't even close on a CD. They actually close on a HUD-1 settlement statement. So you guys are not going to send out a disclosure package, and then we're not going to send out a disclosure package either on these. They are also non-QM, and they are borrower paid comp only. And just a reminder, any questions you guys have as we're going through this, just type it in the chat. Michelle will scoop in and answer those for you. So real quick on how to calculate the DSCR. Since there's no income docs, there's no DTI, what we're doing is we're comparing the property's ability to generate income versus the property's debt. So as a quick example of how to do that, you're going to divide the monthly rental income by the monthly PITIA. So that is the principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, plus any association dues if the property has HOA fees. So quick example, let's say that the monthly rental income on your loan is $4,000 and that the full PITIA is $3,200. That is going to give you a DSCR ratio of 1.25. Generally speaking, anything 1 and above is better, because that means that the property's rental income potential is at least covering the property's expenses. So you're going to see higher LTV capabilities once you go over 1, and of course, better pricing. That doesn't mean there's not options for under 1. At Orion, we definitely have options when the DSCR is under 1, and we even have programs that are no ratio or no minimum DSCR ratio as well. That's primarily just going to require a little bit higher scores, maybe lower LTV caps, and of course, it does impact the pricing as well. So where do we get that number to use in the calculation for the monthly rental income? If it's a purchase and it's a long-term rental lease, meaning they're going to have, let's say, a 12-month lease on it, it's not a short-term rental, you're going to use the 100% of the 1007, the rent comp schedule that you're going to order with the appraisal. You're going to use that full amount for the monthly rental income. If it is a short-term rental property like an Airbnb, VRBO, and it's a purchase, you're going to take 80% of what the Air DNA report comes back at. We're going to pull that for you. That Air DNA is pretty much just a website that we can go to that uses data in the area to generate an estimate of what that particular property could rent for, what yearly, monthly income it could generate as a short-term rental. You're going to only take 80% of that, not the full amount, which is going to account for expenses and vacancies and that kind of thing. If it's a refinance, cash out or rate and term, then you're going to use 100% again of the lease or 1007, the lower of the two for a long-term rental property. If you have a situation where the lease is slightly higher than what the 1007 comes back at, we can look at that as long as you show us the last few months of actually receiving that rent and it's not more than 20% higher of the 1007. So let me know if you guys run into any of those situations and we can look at that. But for a short-term rental refi, you're going to show us the 12-month history of rental income as a short-term rental. So at Orion, we have a couple of different DSCR programs. This is a major niche for us. So you're going to see when you're looking at our matrices online that we have a product called Coin. And no, that's not like Bitcoin or anything. It actually stands for cash flow only investor. And then we also have CoinX. So our Coin program we're running a huge special on that right now. So if you guys don't have logins for our pricing engine, my contact information is over to the left side of your screen. Just shoot me an email. I'll get you a login so you can look at our quick pricer. But this is the matrix for our Coin program. So if the DSCR is 1 or higher, we can go all the way down to a 620 up to 75%. If they have a 640, you can do 80. The score, we could, as you see, we go all the way down to a 620 if the DSCR is 1 or higher. If it's under 1, then for our Coin program, you are going to need a 680 score. But we also have a CoinX program for DSCR, which is a little bit more expansive. So you can see here, we can still go up to 80%, which is our max on DSCR. And then our CoinX program that you're looking at here that's where our no ratio is. So in this bottom half of your screen where you see that we can go under 1, that actually there's no minimum, and that falls into our no ratio. So even if the ratio comes out to 0.1, then as long as you meet those requirements there, we can get that loan done under our CoinX program. So which borrowers are a good fit for DSCR? That's a common question that we get. These are good for borrowers who would not DTI qualify, let's say with conventional financing, if they had to fully income qualify. Maybe they own multiple businesses and have several complicated tax returns and they don't even want to mess with all of that. That's common for DSCR. Or potentially they have too many finance properties for conventional caps at 10 on investment properties as far as finance properties, whereas this program does not have a cap. This program also allows them to close under an LLC. They don't have to, but that is an option that we have. They can close in their individual name or an LLC name. And just a fun fact, our particular DSCR program does not report to their personal credit. And a lot of investors you'll come across really like that feature of Orion's DSCR. Some things to watch out for. So our minimum loan amount, this is a common minimum loan amount for the industry, is 100 grand. We cannot go under 100,000 on the loan amount. That is not an area that we can make exceptions. Also, rural properties, you really want to watch out for. There's not a huge appetite in the DSCR market for properties that are rural. I have seen a couple of exceptions done for rural, but it's mainly in like a short-term rental area, let's say Gatlinburg, Tennessee, where people are going to vacation. Those can do well as a short-term rental as long as the acreage is low. You're looking at acreage under 2 acres typically, but that's more of the exception. And generally speaking, there's not a large appetite for rural with DSCR programs. We do allow first-time home buyers, and I'm not talking about first-time investors. I'm talking about legitimate first-time home buyers who have not been on title to a property in the last 3 years. We do allow those, but we need to see 12 months rent. So if they're a first-time home buyer and they're rent-free, that does not work. And of course, we also welcome first-time investors as long as the DSCR is 1 or higher. You really want to make sure you are getting accurate occupancy on these. As I mentioned, these are investor occupancy only. So if it is looking and smelling like they are buying this home as a primary residence, you really want to be careful about that. Or if they're buying it as a second home, you want to be careful about that too. The whole premise of this program is that the lenders are counting on that rental income, and we're comparing that to the expenses, the payments on these. That's the whole way that we're qualifying them. So these do need to be investor occupancies that are going to have rental income generated on the property. Also, the property condition must be rent ready at closing. So if this is a property that has some deferred maintenance and is not going to be ready to rent and it needs rehab work, that kind of stuff, that's not going to be eligible for our DSCR program. By the time we close, we're going to want to see the property in condition that it's going to be ready to rent right after closing. If you guys have any concerns as you're getting these DSCR scenarios in, please let me know. You can email them to me. My email address is on the left side of the screen. We also have a scenarios desk. That email address is scenarios with an S at orionlending.com as well. If you do send an email there, please make sure you CC me on the email. They're going to have a lot of insight, but I would like to review those as well. Between the two of us, we should be able to give you guys some good feedback on your scenarios. Some more fun facts that you may not have known on these, that DSCR pricing can actually be better than conventional. I've priced and gotten a lot of these locked recently in the 6s. So it's a common misconception that DSCR pricing is always worse than conventional. Sometimes it's better. It just kind of depends on your loan parameters. The biggest thing that impact the pricing on these, of course, is going to be your credit score, your LTV, and the prepayment penalty that you choose between 1 and 5 years. 5 years prepayment penalty is going to be your best pricing options. And then of course the DSCR ratio itself. If you've got a higher the higher the DSCR ratio, the better the pricing is going to be. Even though these are investment occupancies, gifts are allowed on these. So keep that in mind. Gifts from family are eligible for the down payment and closing costs. And as we mentioned before, they are not capped at 10 finance properties on DSCR loans. And we also mentioned first-time investors and first-time home buyers are required. If you get any of those scenarios, feel free to run them by me and we can look at those together. There's also no trade line requirements as long as they have 3 credit scores. You may have heard this about DSCR. We are nationwide, so but there are 33 states that actually don't require you as the loan officer to hold an NML license in that state in order to originate DSCR loans. So that gives you, maybe you're only licensed in a couple of states as an LO. This opens up a list of 33 states that you can actually originate DSCR loans in that you may not hold a license in. If you would like me to send you that list, just shoot me an email. I'll get it back to you. We at Orion also do foreign nationals for DSCR. That would include borrowers who are living and working outside of the United States who are buying an investment property here in the United States, we can do those. And we also do ITIN for borrowers who are living here in the United States as long as they already own a primary residence. If they are ITIN living here in the United States, we cannot do those unless they already own a primary residence here. We just want to be careful that we're not doing these for a primary occupancy. We also have options for 40-year fixed and interest only for DSCR. So just when you guys are pricing those out, you can toggle and select those options. One reason that I like that we offer these options is because when you guys are calculating the DSCR, you're using the PITIA in that DSCR calculation. If your payment is lower, that helps boost your DSCR ratio up. So let's say that you're kind of right at that. Let's say the DSCR ratio is 0.98. You need just a little bit to get you up to 1 for better pricing and loan parameters. If you do that loan as interest only, you would only need to include the interest only payment in that DSCR calculation, which is going to bump your DSCR up and get you to the next threshold. So keep that in mind if you guys are ever on the edge of a DSCR threshold. We do allow cash out to be used as reserves for DSCR cash out. And also our programs allow up to 5% seller contributions, which is a huge benefit on investment occupancy loans. I did price a scenario before we jumped on the call here. So this one I did just a 70% LTV purchase with a DSCR at 1, and I used a 3-year prepayment penalty. We have options from 1 year to 5 year. The two most common prepayment penalty terms I see are 3 and 5. So when you guys price these in our pricing engine, it's going to sort it. Like I mentioned, we have multiple DSCR programs. We do a lot of these, but it's going to sort them with the best price program at the top. So as you can see here, the coin fuel is priced at the top with 7% paying back 0.325, and it's got them stacked in order so that the next is coin and then coin X. And again, if you guys have any, if you need your login, just let me know and I'll shoot it over to you so that you guys can get in here to the pricing engine. Some perks about Orion's DSCR platform. We do a lot of these, and we have a whole separate underwriting team dedicated to these loan types. So our underwriters who are underwriting your DSCR loans are not doing FHA and conventional loans. They are specializing in these. They're experts at getting these to the closing table smoothly. I think that really makes a big difference in your experience as a loan officer and the borrower's experience. Everybody that's going to touch your loan, my team is very, very seasoned. All of my underwriters have over 20 years underwriting experience each. Michelle is one of our DVPs that's very experienced as well. She's got me beat on experience too. So we've really got a really seasoned team here to help you get your loans to the closing table very smoothly. As I mentioned, we've got very competitive pricing on these. We're actually running a huge pricing special on DSCR coin fuel as well. That's automatically going to be factored into the pricing that you see online. So another reason to price us on your DSCR loans right now. Our technology, I feel, is superior. Our company spent about $6 million on our portal. You're going to see that as you're using our portal. It is very, very intuitive, very user-friendly. Even if you have not submitted a loan to Orion yet, it's literally going to walk you through step by step from importing your 3.4 to getting it submitted. And we also have an online help chat straight to our help desk as well. At Orion, another perk of using us for your DSCR is we are fully delegated on these. As long as we're staying within the guidelines on your loan, we handle these completely in-house. Nobody has to look at them prior to closing. The only time that we would have to get an investor input prior to close on your DSCR loans is if we are asking for an exception to our standard guidelines. Then we would have to send that specific instance to the investor to see if they're willing to entertain an exception, which they do from time to time. We also have a free broker marketing studio for you guys. So once you log into our portal, you can click at marketing studio at the top. I'm going to give you guys a sneak preview into that. This is a huge opportunity for loan officers to increase your fundings through DSCR. So when you guys are ramping up on DSCR, if you're not already doing a ton of it, the very first thing I recommend is making yourself an expert on DSCR loans. There's tons and tons of material. If you just go to YouTube and type in DSCR, originating DSCR loans, you're going to see a lot of educational materials on there. There's websites that can educate you on these. That's the number one thing I would do, is get comfortable with the guidelines and what these loans entail. Then from there, there's Facebook groups that you can join. I would look specifically for investor groups on Facebook, so you can get in there and start networking and finding investors who need these loans. Of course, the old tried and true, go to your local real estate events and conferences in your area and network with real estate agents who are working with investors. They're always looking for great outlets for DSCR loans. Also, I'm going to show you our marketing studio, but you guys can do, of course, email campaigns, and we've got some really good stuff already formatted for you, already ready to go for you. There's social media ads as well on our, social media posts and story posts and all kinds of good stuff on our marketing studio. So how you're going to get there is logging in at orionlending.com, clicking on the Star Broker portal, and then clicking on Marketing Studio, and that'll get you there. Everything is pre-designed there for you. It looks great. It's going to be your branding, not ours. It's fully customizable. So we have over 1 million copyright-free images in there for you. So even though it's already pre-designed, if you don't like a picture that they've used on there, you can click on it, delete it, put a new one in there, and really make these your own. Everything's in English or Spanish. You can co-brand with your realtors, their information on one side, yours on the other, for builders as well. We've got some AI technology incorporated in there. So if you guys put the listing web address in there, it's going to pull in a lot of the facts about the property if you guys are making flyers for your real estate agents. As mentioned, there's social media posts, open house flyers, all kinds of stuff. I would highly recommend you get in there and check it out. So you're just going to click on Marketing Studio in our portal. It's not just DSCR. So Orion has a large list of programs that we offer. So you're going to see DPA stuff in there, our bank statement stuff, condos, of course, FHA, conventional. There's all kinds of pre-designed materials in there. So definitely check that out. It's really popular to make listing flyers for your real estate agents. The AI tools that we have in there will pull in a lot of this information for you and make you, including pictures, and make you really nice flyers that you can co-brand with your real estate agents at open houses, that kind of thing. So that is enough to get you guys dangerous with DSCR. I kind of want to pause and see if we have any more questions that you guys want to put in the chat. We will hang out here for a couple more minutes. I did record this, so if you would like the recording, just shoot me an email and you can share that with your team as well. But feel free to put anything in the chat and we will hang out just a couple more minutes to answer any of your questions on DSCR. If not, you are free to go. And thank you again for joining us. We are really, really looking forward to working with you and your teams on your DSCR loans.